Savage Cabbage says, is there ever a circumstance where it would be permissible for a Christian wife or mother to work outside the home? Example, cost of living, expenses, etc. I think that's a good question. Living or okay, yeah. Here's the deal. I think there's what's practical, and then there's what's biblical. I do think the Bible does teach that a woman should be keeper at the home. I think so, and I think that I think the latchkey generation, which is, of course, kids whose both parents worked and the school just dropped them off and they just use the latchkey to get in the house. I was one of those kids. I think the latchkey generation has some problems, and I think every kid does better when there's a mother in the home. Now, the problem that a lot of young families face today is that, of course, we've got inflation going on and things of that nature, and wages have stagnated, and now the average home is like $400,000, and it's just crazy. Build the house in this neighborhood right now are going for mid threes.
Yeah, I know.
And it wasn't that way 2 years ago.
Nope.
I mean, like it's almost like our houses have doubled.
Yeah.
And so you got a new young family trying to get into a home with a 6% interest rate, financing $400,000, and they ain't got a raise in 5 years. It's a perfect disaster for a mess. And some of these economists are saying that it could be a possibility that home ownership in the future is going to be a luxury. It's like owning a yacht or something like that. And that's possible. That's very possible. But I will tell you this: there are some families out there that the mother works because they want to live a certain lifestyle.
Right.
He's got a bass boat, they got a four-wheeler, and they're financing all of that at extremely high interest rates and whatever. And I don't know if that is a healthy thing, because, and here's why. Me and my wife stepped out in the ministry and trusted God, lived by faith. I have been unemployed for 15 years. I've been in ministry and just been trusting the Lord, living by faith, and just, most of that time living hand to mouth. I think one tax return, we listed $14,000 income that year. It was a wild year, and God provided, but that's just what we had to do to get things going. And we did that off one income, my income. We had our first kid, Savannah, and we had her, and we were both working. She went back to work for about a month, and then I handed her a happy retirement card not long after that, and I said, "You're quitting your job, and we'll just live off my income forever." And been about, my daughter's 13 now, and she's about to turn 14. And my daughter's entire life, her mother has not worked a job. And I don't say that because I'm some amazing provider. I feel like in some ways I have been a miserable failure as far as that department goes. But I do think that God will bless, and I do think that's God's design. Now, it's going to be harder and harder as time goes on to live that way, because of just the price of everything just going astronomical. It's insane. But I do think that God's design is for the woman to be a keeper at home and for the man to work. Now, if you're not there now, I'm not mad at you. I don't think you're in sin, but I do think you need to try to work towards that. I do think, and I don't mind saying it, I do think Dave Ramsey is right when it comes to personal finance. He's wrong on a lot of stuff, and we try to hold him accountable on all that with a little bit of influence that we have. But I'm going to tell you right now, Dave Ramsey is right when it comes to debt. Get out of debt. Quit financing cars. I worked in car sales. I know the car sales game, and I'm telling you, you guys with car payments need to get rid of them. They are killing you. It is a drain on your finances. If you could just invest that money into over the course of 20 years into a brokerage account, you would be a millionaire. You absolutely would with the money that you're spending on cars. So go buy a junker, go buy a hoopty, and drive it around. And I would not say that if I had not done it all my adult life myself. I have done it, and it has been fine. You will live. You will survive. But this is why, like I was at the bank a couple of years ago, and there was a banker in there. I talked to her. She was my banker, and her kids were all pictured on the back on the wall and stuff like that. And I asked her about her kids, and she said, "Yeah, my daughter just called me a minute ago. I just got home from school, and my daughter keeps begging me to quit the job and come home and just be home with them." And I told her, I said, and she's telling me, I didn't pry this out of her, but she told me this. She said, "Well, I told my daughter, I said, if you want to keep living this way, the way that we live now, I got to go back to work. I got to stay working." And I thought to myself, you're giving up time with your kids, stepping outside the order of God, just so you can live a lifestyle, which probably involves a bunch of things that don't matter.
Yeah.
Like a pool. And we got a little pool out there. We bought it at Sam's. My wife saved money for a couple of years and spent $500 at a pool at Sam's, which is nothing more than a glorified bag made of thick plastic that has a little frame around it, and the kids go jump in that pool. That's fine. That's all that is. So you don't need all that nice stuff. You just get you a hoopty, and I think that's what's wrong. I think a lot of young families need to hear that kind of talk. Don't go off and finance a brand new car. Don't finance anything. As much as you can. You get a mortgage, that's good. But if you ever get to the point, I've had one car payment. We bought an Infiniti because our car broke down. It's a car that I drive now. We bought it. I had to make one payment on it so that I get it off the lot, so I get all my monies together, and then the next payment I paid it off. So I guess technically I've had 2 car payments in my adult life. Okay, and one of them just so I could get it, and the next one so I could pay it off. That's all I've done. And I could not have been in the ministry had I had all this debt hanging over me. Mm-hmm. So the answer to that question, is there ever a circumstance where it would be permissible for a Christian wife and mother to work outside the home? Yeah, temporarily, I think, but I do think that God's order still stands. I do think women should stay home. And really, I with this remote work COVID world that we live in, I think a lot of you ladies can get a part-time job at home on a computer, make some okay money. I think you can. We got Alicia. She stays at home, and Johnny's wife, and she does some earring business and does just fine with it. Sarah sings on this live stream. We'll play. I won't play it tonight, but we'll play. She does an earring business too, and makes some good money on the side. But she's not away. She's not like going to Subway, making sandwiches for men all day. Some women want to think it's derogatory to make a sandwich for their husband, but then they'll go over there to Subway and make sandwiches for strangers all day.
How dare you?
And I don't care.
How dare you?
You tell me what's derogatory, But that's just how this goes, folks. So I'm over-answering this question. I'm over-answering every question.
Well, the Proverbs 31 woman, she worked.
Yeah.
But it was mostly work that would have been in that context from home.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying that a woman working is bad. Nothing wrong with that. But I do think that it is best.
To say that they're not working when they're in the home is far from true as well. But
yeah. That's
the modern mentality saying, "Oh, they don't work."
Well, no, I think the hardest job in the world is being a mother. I think so. I've watched my wife.
Yeah.
I watched her work and those kids, and I've seen all that, man. And it's no small thing. It's no not sitting at home eating Cheetos and watching soap operas all day.
How dare you?
And I'm having a lot of fun with that.
I think you are.
Yeah. But
it's Greta, isn't it?
Yeah, she's a blessing. I do think that God's order still stands. So what does it say? Great, Spencer is over us. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. So let's see. Gordon Shumway says, I'm currently a cashier and I'm amazed at the amount of credit cards people own. They have one for every store they shop at, along with a standard card. Yeah. Everywhere I go, they want. Do you want the Best Buy credit card? No. Do you want the Kohl's credit card? No. I don't want anything from Kohl's. Everything you make is skinny jeans, and I can't even fit in your clothes. So
How dare you?
anyway, but I don't understand. I don't understand. My days of all that are over with. There is something desperately wrong with these people. If that's not the Holy Spirit, then what is it?
Hallelujah, Jesus.
When you pull back the curtain and see what it really is and what is really going on, it will give you such an understanding, and it's mind-blowing. I think I know. I think the Lord has showed it to me. This isn't new, and this isn't innocent. In just a moment, I'm going to write on the board one of the most satanic things that could ever be written. There is a spirit that worketh in the children of disobedience, and sometimes it pretends it's the Holy Ghost.
When God created you, when He saw how magnificent you are, God looked at you and said, that was very good.
And once you get better and better and better and better and better, where does that road go? Is the absolute core essence of Luciferianism. We'll tell you the truth. And may God help you. It pretends like it is Christianity, but it certainly is not. It most certainly is not. The road to Shambhala is the road to hell. May God have mercy on those who make this terrible mistake.